So why cybersecurity? We all know that the rate at which we get information, or the information in the global space about data breach, has been so high. If you look at some of the information out there today, you will see that no matter what we do today, we cannot exempt leaving our digital footprints out there, either by opening a bank account or by registering in a school or by applying for a visa to go somewhere, or even just buying goods, shopping online. These are our digital footprints. And in each of these transactions, you are leaving your first name, your surname, your date of birth, your mother's maiden name, your state of origin. All these things are called personally identifiable information. And personally identifiable information are two or more information that can be combined to identify an individual in the world. Like here in the United States, when you are pulled over by a cop, the first thing they ask you is driver's license and your insurance. The driver's license has your first name, your last name, your address, your date of birth, and any other thing is there. That identifies you. That shows that you are who you are. That's what you claim to be at that moment. But there's going to be a verification. He goes back to his car, he punches your information in to properly identify you. All this information are out there. And what are the cyber criminals doing these days? When they are able to breach your network, they will take all this information and either sell it in the black market, okay, the black web, or they will hold your data at ransom because they are very vital in the businesses that you're doing. So for that reason, these are valuable assets for businesses. If you are a business person today and you lose your phone, you will not be sad that you lost the phone, but the information that is in the phone is what is more important. So the value of the phone being your assets is higher because of the information in it, your personal pictures and other things. All over the world, in the developed world, we have 16 critical sectors that are dealt with by several. I was thinking people were going to be able to come in without me admitting them, but that's okay. I'll keep looking on this side to admit people. So when you look at the 16 critical information sectors in the developed and the developing world, you will understand that they are interconnected. So in the United States, there are incapacitation of any of these critical information sectors or infrastructure sectors. Any of them that is being incapacitated would have a debilitating effect on security, national economy, security, national public health or safety, and any combination thereof. So the Presidential Policy Directive, which is PDP 21, is an executive order that is given by the president to make sure that these critical information security sectors are being monitored and protected. And you can see that things like nuclear energy, power supply, we have information technology sector, communication sector. Your cell phones can be attacked. Your cell phone broadcasting channels can be attacked or be infiltrated. Your financial sector can also be ruined using cyber attack if they do what they call distributed denial of service on your server, which means legitimate people that are supposed to have access to banking applications won't be able to log onto their network. That is an attack. That is denial of service, and a lot of money is being lost by companies through this type of cyber criminal act. The health and the public sector. We saw a surge on the health sector during COVID because a lot of companies started working from home. A lot of health facilities opened up their internet to enable doctors and nurses to do online health attendance through the internet, and they weren't prepared for it. So it kind of opened the internet and gave a lot of access to cyber criminals, and they stole a lot of people's personally identifiable information that were later sold in the market. So these can affect the health industry. They can also implant malwares on things like pacemakers. If they do that, they can actually make people have a wrong reading of their heart monitors and different machines and equipments that are interconnected to the internet. And this becomes a debilitating effect to the economy. And you will not want to trust any company that their health industry is being hacked. Also, the transportation system. The rail industry is also interconnected to the internet, and all these things can be derailed. The railroad can be derailed. They can use a physical attack through their operational technology to derail the planes. So the water system also, there was one that happened where the attacker got in and released sewer drainage into drinking water system that can be poisonous to the society. So the government of every country is creating awareness, creating frameworks, creating regulatory bodies that they can use to mandate companies to maintain a certain regulation standard in order to mitigate or reduce the effect of cyber attacks on these critical infrastructures that we're talking about. So the national cyber strategy recognizes that private and public entities have struggled to secure the systems as adversaries have increased their frequency. So the frequency of their attack, coupled with information technology and artificial intelligence, their rate of attack and the sophistication of the attack has also increased the need for cybersecurity professionals in every of these, not only critical infrastructure sectors, but in our daily activities, banking, commerce, and so on. So the federal spending, you can see in the United States, in information technology 2025 is projected to be substantial, with a focus of cybersecurity, AI, IT modernization, and improving the public experience. Why specific dollar amount vary depending on the source and whether it includes in the Department of Defense. Estimates for civilian agencies alone ranges to around 76.8 billion, and you can see the bar here shows that every year it's been increasing. With the attack on the Iran nuclear system, the American critical infrastructure has geared towards a counterattack from the Iranian government. So all these things, all these sectors has to be manned by people like me and you to make sure that we see things and mitigate them before they become catastrophic to the economy. So this was a budget by Joe Biden in 2024. The budget was $62.2 billion that was estimated, with a physical civilian agency receiving about 12.7 billion in cyber focused funding. Focused funding is not just to hire people, but also to train civilians on being able to identify a cybersecurity attack, being able to understand how to use training awareness on how to recognize things like a malware, or if there's a spam that contains a dangerous link to a C2C, they'll be able to identify that also. So the United States government actually created a framework that will be governing the executive sector, the government sector, and that framework is called FISMA, which is the Federal Information Security Management Act. So just like what we have in Nigeria, we do have things like Minister of Education, Minister of Finance, Minister of Petroleum. All those ministerial bodies, they are under the FISMA. And what does FISMA do? FISMA mandates them to be cybersecurity compliant to a certain level that they deem possible for them to be interconnected. So you have to have a checkbox of various security controls that you need to apply in all your information and information systems in order to measure up to the FISMA framework in the United States government. And I believe every country has this, because if you're doing business with any other country in the world, you have to measure up to this for you to be able to do business with them. Frameworks by other sectors. Here in the United States, we have different frameworks and regulatory bodies that governs different sectors that we use. Like if you work with the United States government, I told you about FISMA, but then the United States government decided to produce a cybersecurity framework, or a framework that can be adopted by any sector or by any company that wants to apply cybersecurity, and that was designed by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, and it's called Cybersecurity Risk Framework. Okay, and then if you deal with credit cards, if you deal with any money card that has Visa, MasterCard, American Express, as long as it has one of those logos, you are bound by the PCI DSS. PCI DSS is a regulatory body that was formed by those companies that own Visa, MasterCard, and all those money cards that are out there. They came together and decided, okay, if you're going to be accepting this amount of credit cards in your business, you have to be PCI DSS compliant. Now, if you work in the corporate accounting laws, you are bound by the Sarbanes-Oxley, and Glenn-Leach Act is for if you are a company and you are in the financial sector, or if you are in the stock environment and you make a certain amount of money, you are bound by that rule. If you're in the health industry, you're bound by the HIPAA. If you are an educational institution, you are bound by the FAPRA, which is Family Education Right Privacy Act. And then the General Data Protection Regulation is for the European Union. So if you are from Europe, if you have an European citizenship, it means that you are bound by the GDPR. Not only that, if you are doing business and you collect any data from an EU member citizen, you that collected it is bound by this regulatory body. So there are different fines that you will be charged if you mismanage those private information, those personally identifiable information. If you mismanage them or if they are stolen, you have a certain amount of time to report them. I think either 24 or 48 hours. And if you don't and they find out, you're going to be charged a certain amount of money. There's a lot of regulatory processes on these frameworks as you see them. So if you're working in the EU countries, you are bound by this. But the GDPR was so good that it is not like the piecemeal we have here in the United States. You can see different sectors use different frameworks here in the United States. We don't have an overarching framework that governs everybody, unlike the EU, where they have one rule that is used to govern every EU citizen. So for that reason, different countries like Argentina, Australia, Japan, they have adopted the EU GDPR. Now, Nigeria also is not left out because we are not an island. We live in the world, and we do have a data protection privacy framework called Nigerian NDPC. The NDPC is a Nigerian Statutory Data Protection Authority established under the Nigerian Data Protection Act of 2023. In the introduction mandate is that the NDPC is a Nigerian Statutory Data Protection Authority established. Okay, they are right to be informed as a citizen, access your information, rectify your information. So if you go to the bank and you open an account and you find out that they spelled your name wrong, you have the right to be informed that they are collecting your information, which means they give you the form and you opted to fill the form. You are also authorized to access that information at any time to rectify it in case if you are a miss or a Mrs. or they misspelled your name, they can change it. And they can also, when there's a breach of your personally identifiable information, they are supposed to let you know. They also restrict processing. They decide on companies that will be able to process Nigerian citizens' data. And they also, be forgotten, the protection from automated decision making. They also protect you from people using automated means to collect your information. So this is a framework that works in Nigeria, which means Nigeria is actually has been gearing up and in flow with the rest of the world in regards to cybersecurity compliance, so that they can be able to do business with other countries and companies all over the world. Now,